Imagine you're a retailer selling a pair of running shoes. Now, you could choose to describe the very specific material that you're using. You could talk about the thickness of the material. You could talk about the dimensions of the shoes and all of that good stuff. But these are very, very specific details, and so it's very binary for the buyer. When they read it, it's spelling out a very specific. It's telling them a very specific thing. You could also talk about your thought process behind the material choices you made and how you rejected certain materials and how you favored certain other materials, even though they were more complicated to manufacture and were more expensive. You can talk about your philosophy around designing shoes, the problem that you had, why you ended up designing it. I think that the second story is much richer because what it does is it, first of all, it emotionally connects with the buyer, but more importantly, it acts as, um, it acts as a container in which the buyer can project their own emotions. The reality is that, the way our brain is wired is that we hear details and we use those details to construct a narrative. Now, when you're talking about the specific thickness of your insole, that's a detail that doesn't really facilitate me thinking in terms of me thinking further. However, if you talk about the two paths that you had and you could have taken the easier path, but you felt the right thing to do for your own personal self was to do it the more difficult way. That's a story I can personally relate to, and even though I know nothing about shoes, I have lived a life and I can imagine myself in scenarios where I made those choices. That's the reason why I think talking about those details is a much more effective conversion strategy. What do you think?